This is going to bring some heat.
You two are going to work together on this. This guy has personal beef. You think I pushed him?
Did you?
You're going to open a murder investigation on the most powerful family in New York City.
What are you going to do about this guy?
Oh, boy, would you look at that field goal he kicked right there?
That looks fantastic. Boy, it looks like you need to stop at Tomahawk Furniture and Guns.
Furniture and guns?
Yeah, they've got everything you need at great prices. Recliners, sofas, mattresses.
And guns?
Northland Basement Systems is the all things basementy company. Basement waterproofing, basement finishing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. When it comes to basement solutions, nobody does it better than we do. Since 1991, homeowners just like you in the Northland have trusted Northland Basement Systems for all things basementy in their homes. Call Northland Basement Systems today to schedule a free home evaluation.
Up North at 4 with Nate and Jeff starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Nate Myhock. Today we'll chat about the Headwaters Performing Arts Council. We'll sit down with one of my favorite writers, and we'll get to all that in a bit. But first, here's your top 4 at 4. You know, it was tough enough trying to find a job straight out of college, but I didn't really have to compete with robots. However, not everyone can say the same. A restaurant in Iowa has turned to using Rosie the robot to wait on tables. It's not taking anyone's jobs, but it is an extra set of hands willing to help. In about a month, we'll see kids get dressed up and hit the streets and search for candy, and M&M's is rolling out a new character just in time for the holiday. The company has unveiled a purple candy that will be their first new addition in a decade. Unfortunately, Jeff's audition tape may have gotten lost in the mail. And with Halloween coming up, there's no better place to stay than this Airbnb in Massachusetts. It's a home decorated as the Sanderson house from the Hocus Pocus franchise. It's located in the woods outside of Salem and will allow fans to see some sights from the movies. And that house would go well with this decoration, made to recreate the famous scenes from the recent season of Stranger Things. It has since gone viral and gotten many folks stopping by to see Max floating in midair. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Weller joining us now live in studio. Jeff, I just got to ask, you got yours and Theo's Halloween
costumes are ready to go. Yes, perfect. About a month away. Right, here we go out there today. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures hanging out in the 60s today. We'll do it again tomorrow and for Saturday and for Sunday and for Monday and probably Tuesday. A long duration kind of warming trend is on the way. That kicks in right now. It's 62 in Rhinelander with a southwest breeze around 10 and the pressure is steady at 30.36. 63 for Wausau. Okay, you win with that south breeze around 9 miles per hour right now. Around the horn, temperatures are hanging out in the 60s. This is about what we're supposed to do this time of year. The average high being about 60, so we're doing pretty good. We're going to be above that, though, going forward. 65 tomorrow, 68 for Saturday. We could go for 70 on Saturday. But then, look, I know your eye goes right there. It looks like we're going to fall off a cliff here probably Wednesday into Thursday of next week. Your full forecast details for you at 5 o'clock.
I worked in law enforcement for more than 30 years. I know what it takes to keep our community safe. Mandela Barnes stands with Defund the Police and supports no cash bail that releases dangerous criminals back into our communities. Barnes supports sanctuary cities and spending millions of taxpayer dollars on illegal immigrants. Take it from me, the bad guys belong in jail, and Mandela Barnes belongs nowhere near the Senate.
Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
There are so many things we take for granted, and along with them, sometimes we take the people who depend on them for granted too. How can they survive with record increases in their basic cost of living? And through no fault of their own, they're being left behind. If you or someone you know needs a hand up, our energy, water, and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
Get in gear this fall with 11% off everything at Menards. The pro-quality Master Force low-profile 3-ton floor jack has dual hydraulic pistons and a lift range of 3 1/8 to 20 inches. Get yours now with 11% off. Finish cleaning up your garage with help from Shop Vac. This 5-gallon stainless steel wet dry vac can tackle the toughest messes, wet or dry. Save 11% on all Shop Vac products. Get 11% off everything now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Enjoy the serenity of northern Wisconsin all year long. First stop, Shquagaman Adventure Company. Skis, skates, snowshoes, and fat bikes. Kayaks, canoes, and paddleboards. Shquagaman Adventure Company. Stop by the store or visit us online.
Roof warranties are all about trust. Your trust in GAF, a time-tested company, and our trust in our Master Elite contractors. They're trained, licensed, insured, and only they can offer our best warranties.
Call Oneida Roofing today.
Derek Van Orden, former U.S. Navy SEAL. Over 20 years of active duty, defending America in hostile territory. 5 combat tours, hundreds of missions, sea, air, and land. Now, he's on the most important no-fail mission of his life.
Saving America for my grandchildren and yours.
Grandpa, we're just going to the park.
Yes, we are. You guys ready?
Yeah!
Derek Van Orden and I approve this mission and this message.
Huge auction, Hazelhurst, Wisconsin. Tools, guns, antiques, New Holland skid steer, trailers, home contents, and more. Contact Brass at St. Louis Auctions for more details.
Welcome back here to Up North at 4. Jenny Rock's joining us now. Headwaters Council for the Performing Arts. Big news.
Yes.
Very exciting news. Season opener.
Season opener.
Coming up in just about a couple of weeks, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Yes.
So we got about a week and a half, give or take. What is going on at Headwaters this year?
Very exciting stuff. Saturday, October 8th at 7:30 p.m. As always at Northland Pines High School Auditorium. We love them. We are having Ernie Haas and Signature Sound. Decades of Love. We actually had Ernie Haas and Signature Sound several years ago, and people came up to us that it was the best show they've ever seen. It was a completely different show, but still that same energy and talent. And they're going to be having all the best love songs of the past 100 years.
I was going to ask you. They're calling it Decades of Love. I feel like I needed to learn more about what that meant. And if I'm not mistaken, this is just the 4 gentlemen. What's the word? It's just
quartet.
Quartet. Yeah, that is what I'm thinking of. Just the 4 guys, and you were saying one of the best concerts people have ever seen.
Absolutely loved it. Ernie Haas himself has been on Broadway. He's very renowned as a gospel singer. He's the big deal. And he organized the rest of the group, Signature Sound, to be his backup, and they're amazing.
They just knock it out of the park. Yeah, absolutely. And that's show number 1 for the season, right?
Yes.
You guys got a few different acts coming in. What else is going on?
We're so excited. We've got 5 shows this season. We have Ernie Haas, Signature Sound, October 8th. In November, we have a Beach Boys tribute. Then we have Central Wisconsin Symphony coming in December to do a matinee performance. Christmas songs. It's going to be beautiful.
Love that.
Then going into the spring, we have 2 more shows. We have Jeremy Stoll. He's a vocalist and a pianist, wildly talented. And we're going to wrap the season up, and I always say this wrong, but it's called Troupe Vertigo, and it's like, I'm going to say it wrong, Cirque du Soleil?
I think you've nailed it. Oh, sounds good.
I've been practicing all day.
So this is like a circus act, or what's going on with that?
Well, dancing and aerial things, acrobatics. It took forever for us to get approved for this because they had to make sure our stage was right and could handle all their stuff.
And it works.
This
is going to happen.
Yes,
in the auditorium
locked
at
in
Northland Pines High School.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, because they all take place at the high school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right? great venue for us. They're so lovely to let us use this, and not a bad seat in the house.
Absolutely, and you can get tickets where exactly?
So you can get tickets starting right now at Eagle River Roasters, which we love them. They totally support us and everything we do. Tickets are $30. You can get them now, or you can get them at the door the night of the show. Nice. But I do encourage people to get them ahead of time because this is a big deal. And I'm a bargain shopper, Nate. Let me tell you,
as am I.
It is not too late to save big money.
Is this like a
Menards,
not a Menards
but it sounds like it. But you can get a season ticket for the year.
Very nice.
$30 a show or 5 shows for $100.
So you do the math.
There's math, which I'm not smart enough to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it live.
But it's a big savings.
Perfect.
Do the season tickets.
Do the season tickets,
yes.
Absolutely. And you can find more information, I'm sure, on your website as well.
Yes, which is hcpapresents.com.
Perfect, perfect. So this starting next Saturday, Ernie Haas is going to be at Northland Pines High School, and you were saying it's one of the best concerts people have ever been at or attended. So this is top of the line stuff here, Jenny. Well, this is exciting, and if you guys got an extra weekend open, I'm sure Jeff and I would love to come on.
Perfect.
Do a quick 10-minute stand-up routine.
I think you'd be wildly entertaining.
I think so.
I have no doubt.
Maybe not for the right reasons, but it'd be entertaining.
You know, it's all good.
Nonetheless.
And if I may,
yes.
We did add one feature to our website this year. Again, hcpapresents.com. COVID has taken a toll on a lot of the arts, and it's been hard. So we added a feature. If you would like, you could go on our website and make a donation for the arts, which is always wonderful.
Of course, we always want to hopefully, you know, raise you guys some more money, and we wish the best of luck for you guys here in the near future. But in the meantime, we got to take a break, and I don't know what that for. We'll be right back after this.
Under Governor Evers, hard-working Wisconsin families are being left behind. We're paying more for food, gas, everything. And Tony Evers tried to make us pay even more, a 20% gas tax increase, doubling the tax on home heating bills. And while Evers puts the squeeze on us, he wanted to give taxpayer-funded benefits to people who refuse to work. He even opposes drug testing welfare recipients. Tony Evers is leaving hard-working Wisconsin families behind.
Enter a haven for European-style baking at Boulangerie in Tomahawk. Fresh breads, pastries, soups, salads, and more. The finest ingredients prepared from scratch with a fanatical eye for detail. Simply the best. You deserve Boulangerie.
Visit Wildberry Market, the premier natural food store in the Northwoods, for all of your organic food and health needs. Grab a healthy lunch on the go, made fresh daily by our deli. Eat well, live well, be well. Wildberry Market in Minocqua and online.
Water is one of nature's most beautiful and life-sustaining resources. At no fault of their own, many Wisconsin utility customers are facing a shutoff to their water service. This leaves them without the one life-giving resource we all take for granted. And those hardest hit are on fixed incomes, juggling multiple temporary jobs, or those who lost full-time jobs in sectors hardest hit by the pandemic. If someone you care about needs a hand up, your local Wisconsin energy and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safely in your home and your water, heat, and power on. If you are in danger of losing your water service, call 833-H2O-WISC, 833-426-9472. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
Ron Johnson's at it again, lying about my taxes. Let's be clear, my taxes are paid in full, but there were times I was getting by on peanut butter sandwiches. And that's why I support a tax cut for the middle class. Put more money in your pockets, because I know how hard you work. But Johnson used his Senate seat to write a loophole that gave huge tax cuts to himself and his biggest donors, leaving us with crumbs. And that's how we get left behind. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
This portion of News Watch 12 is brought to you by Furniture and Appliance Mart.
Welcome on back here to Up North at 4. And joining us now over Zoom, a favorite writer of mine, Paul Lucas of UniWatch. Now, a lot of people, I'm sure, Paul, you get this question hundreds of times, maybe even thousands of times, when people say, you write about uniforms, right? I'm sure there's questions somewhere in that vein. I know Jeff had the same question earlier today when I brought this up to him. Paul, tell us just a little bit about what you do and kind of about the work that you've done for the past couple of decades now.
Yeah, in the late 90s, I had spent a lot of time writing about consumer culture, especially in terms of how it related to design, like brand design, product design, industrial design, package design. And I realized I could take that same filter and apply it to sports. But I didn't want to do a design column that happened to be about sports. I wanted to do a sports column that was about design. And that's how UniWatch was born. In 1999, it started as like a monthly column in an alt-weekly paper here in New York City, where I live. It eventually had a 15-year run on ESPN.com, and now it's a daily blog and a weekly subscription newsletter that I do. So sort of different iterations or platforms for the UniWatch brand. But it's all about obsessing over and geeking out over the details of what I like to call athletics aesthetics. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do get that question. People hear what I do and they say, wait, you write about what? And so I, even after 23, even after 23 years, I still do get that question. And the truth is, not everybody is into UniWatch or, the beat I cover and the depths to which I kind of go down the rabbit hole sometimes. But the people who are into it are really, really into it. So I have a very passionate, devoted readership and following. And while I'm sitting here talking to you, like while we're having this conversation, people are tweeting things at me, emailing things to me, observations they've made, things they've spotted while watching a game or looking at archived video or whatever. And so I'm super lucky to have the UniWatch readership be my eyes and ears out there, because I can only watch so many games, right?
And I know in the past you've written about, like you brought it up too, a lot of consumer culture, as you put it. What was sort of like the final push to say, you know what, I'm committing to athletic aesthetics, like you put it? What was sort of that final, the shove, if you will?
Honestly, when I started UniWatch, I thought it would just be a sort of, a temporary project that would run its course in a couple of years. And that was sort of my history as a freelance journalist at that time. I did not expect it to be so durable and long-lived. And so it wasn't really like a commitment that I made. It was almost more like a commitment my readers made. Mm-hmm. What I found was the more information about uniforms and that kind, about the visual aspect of sports, the more I put out there, the more I get back from the readership. Really, there's just no end of information out there about uniforms, and not just new stuff. Like, there's always a team unveiling a new uniform or, a new patch or whatever it is they're going to wear, or announcing their new uniform combo for the upcoming game. But there's also historical stuff. And in fact, on my blog today, I have a piece about how in the 70s, in 1974, the New York Yankees radio broadcaster, Phil Rizzuto, said during a game, and we have the archived audio because people save that kind of stuff and you can find it on the internet. Phil Rizzuto saying, so in yesterday's game, the Cleveland had two guys wearing the same uniform number. That's sort of unusual. And so I was down a rabbit hole. It was like looking up the old box score and like, did they both were they listed as wearing the same number? No. Well, did one of them borrow the other one's jersey? Well, it's theoretically possible because they were roughly the same height and weight and so this is the kind of thing where maybe some people listening to this right now might say, who cares? It was like 48 years ago, two guys wearing the same number. But it's the kind of like, there's a story behind there somewhere. Mm-hmm. There's a story. And that kind of story, kind of like, I get off on that. I love that kind of storytelling and research and it's easy to get excited about the Wizard of Oz. I kind of get more excited about the man behind the curtain, and that's what I'm always looking for.
Are you ready for something new? At Cost Cutters, we'll give you a look that will have you listening to lots of compliments. Buy products you love this month at Cost Cutters during our buy one, get one half off sale on all Leader professional products.
Violent crime up across Wisconsin. Families nervous about their safety. Yet Mandela Barnes called for releasing half of Wisconsin's jailed inmates. That would mean releasing over 10,000 criminals right into our neighborhoods. 10,000 reasons your family would be in more danger. Barnes also supported defunding the police. 10,000 more criminals with fewer police to protect us. What could go wrong? Wisconsin Truth Bank is responsible for the content of this advertising.
My thoughts on laser therapy to me is awesome. I mean, it really, really made a big difference. Every time I came here, I noticed an improvement. I mean, I was starting to do things that I couldn't do a week before. And so I'm I'm totally grateful for it. Integrated Paint Solutions got me back to my normal trucking and equipment handling life. Thank you.
The radical left hate America and riot in our streets. They indoctrinate our children to hate America, stoking fear and envy with their lies and deceptions. Their radical woke agenda and divisive politics are tearing our country apart. Here's Mandela Barnes.
The founder of this nation, awful.
Mandela Barnes is a radical leftist. He supports their woke agenda that's causing you and your family so much pain.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
The kitchen remodel project was a major project. After checking around, we went to Featherstone, and we were so glad we did. There was electrical work, plumbing, enlarging a doorway, and of course all the cabinets, countertops, and fixtures. The minute I walked in the door at Featherstone, I knew I was in the right place. Featherstone coordinated every aspect of the project, the whole thing. They made it easy. And I can't say enough about how much we appreciated the personal attention Featherstone gave us.
Love your career? Cost Cutters will support you in achieving your career goals. With competitive wages, great benefits, and up to a $2,250 sign-on bonus. Stop in or visit costcutters.com to find your nearest location.
Paul, it seems to me that teams these days put a lot of effort into rolling out their new uniforms, and the fans then tend to either love them or hate them, right? There's a lot that goes into that.
Yep.
How much do teams listen to what the fans respond to these big rollouts, have you found?
Well, first of all, we should say that the reason uniforms get much more attention now than, say, when we were kids is that, they sell them, that it's merchandised. When I was growing up, I couldn't buy a Mets or Yankees jersey. I'm from the New York area. I couldn't have bought that if I'd wanted to because they hadn't figured out that people would spend hundreds of dollars for a polyester shirt, basically. Mm-hmm. But now it's like a big part of how teams market themselves, how they move merchandise and so on. There are stories from earlier in sports history, like in the mid-1990s, the 49ers famously came out. The San Francisco 49ers announced a new helmet logo instead of their classic SF that we're all used to seeing on the side of the helmet. They had this weird stylized typography that said 49ers, and it looked kind of goofy. They got flooded with phone calls. That's how people expressed their outrage in those days, not on Twitter. And they pulled it. They said, all right, we're not going to do it. Nowadays, it's much harder once you're committed to something like that because there's so much merchandise in the pipeline. You can't just say like, oops, never mind, because Models and Dick's and all these other places have already ordered, tens of thousands of jerseys and caps and whatever that's going to be sold, reflecting this design. So if people don't like it, I mean, obviously that's not good, but you can't really do much about it.
I forget exactly when I stumbled upon UniWatch. It was almost a decade ago at this point. And I think I had first read one of your articles, and it was like a recap of some team unveiling some new uniform. I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. There's a website dedicated to this really weird topic that I find fascinating. And then the more and more I've read, like you brought up, there's a huge scope to it where it's, you start to see, like you brought up, Models ordered X amount of jerseys to be sold. So now, we really can't scrap this design, even if fans don't like it. Or like you brought up 40-some years ago, there's this, a rock that can be turned over to find out two players wearing the same number in the same exact game. Like there's so much more to it than even I had realized when I first started reading your blog, however many years ago at this point now. And I think the last question, though, that I want to ask you, Paul, is because I could talk to you all day, but I know I got to let you go. I really could. But I think the one question I want to ask you, though, is there a story or any sort of factoid that you found in your 20-plus years of writing about uniforms that has really stood out to you the most or has been the most fascinating to you?
My favorite story is it's a piece I did for ESPN, and it was the 20th anniversary of the famous Bill Buckner World Series game, and so I was working with one of the photo editors at ESPN, and he was looking at old photos because they were going to do some story about, the 20th anniversary of the Buckner game. And he noticed, like all the photos and video you normally see are, the ball going through Bill Buckner's leg.
Yeah.
He found a photo of Buckner walking off the field, and he noticed that Buckner, like a lot of first basemen, had a batting glove on his glove hand, to give a little extra cushioning. Mm-hmm. And what was the batting glove? It was a Chicago Cubs glove. It had the Cubs logo, and Buckner had previously played for the Cubs. And so this was before the Red Sox had gotten rid of their curse and before the Cubs had gotten their curse. So Bill Buckner was almost asking for that ball to go through his legs. He was commingling the two most storied curses in baseball history, right? Like the worst jinxes. He was already a Red Sox player wearing a Red Sox uniform, and he was wearing an old Cubs batting glove just to bring some extra bad luck into the situation. And so that's like a really picky little detail, but I just love that story. Like, what could be better than, like, it just has so many elements of baseball lore, and it's like a geeky little detail that I can figure out. So to me, that's sort of my favorite UniWatch story of all time.
Yeah. Did you find out while researching that he also broke a mirror and then had a black cat run across?
Yeah, and walked under a ladder and all that. Yeah. While wearing Red Sox and Cubs gear. Yeah.
Paul, I really appreciate you taking the time. I was looking forward to this interview for a long time, as Jeff can probably tell you.
Big fan of yours right now.
I geek out about your work probably way too much. But in the meantime, Paul, we'll let you go. We're going to take a break here and Up North at 4. We'll be right back.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
For a luxurious bathing experience, choose the name you know and trust, Mad City Baths, Wisconsin's award-winning #1 remodeler. Family-owned and operated, we are your trusted local source for custom baths, showers, and walk-in tubs. Installed in as little as 1 day, backed with a double lifetime labor warranty. Brighten up your bathroom. Choose Arctic ice walls with hopscotch impressions or Platino granite flagstone walls with diamond accents. The only limitation is your imagination. Plus, it's our Upgrade Now, Pay Later event to receive 24 months, no payments and no interest. Senior and military discounts. Get a $250 Mad City gift card with bath or shower purchase. Use it as an instant discount or for future home improvements. Plus, call during this program and save more with half-off labor. And ask about Mad City's Do More discount for additional savings on new EcoSky windows and kitchen cabinet refacing. Plus, homeowners love our affordable bathroom transformations.
The shower is great.
The quality and, lifetime warranty.
They tell you right away, they'll do it 1 day.
And after the finished product, you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Mad City has more than 50,000 satisfied customers and an A+ rating with the BBB. We can replace your old, outdated bathtub with a beautiful walk-in shower like this, or new walk-in tub with relaxing hydrotherapy installed in as little as 1 day. It's our Upgrade Now, Pay Later event. Purchase a new bath or shower and pay later with 24 months, no payments and no interest. Senior and military discounts. Plus, you'll get a $250 Mad City gift card to apply as an instant discount or for future home improvements. And for more savings, call during this program for half-off labor. From Wausau and North Central Wisconsin, call 715-941-4238. That's 715-941-4238.
Under Governor Evers, hardworking Wisconsin families are being left behind. We're paying more for food, gas, everything. And Tony Evers tried to make us pay even more, a 20% gas tax increase, doubling the tax on home heating bills. And while Evers puts the squeeze on us, he wanted to give taxpayer-funded benefits to people who refuse to work. He even opposes drug testing welfare recipients. Tony Evers is leaving hardworking Wisconsin families behind.
All right, Jeff, some good news for the people out there. You said, and this is your word here, a heat wave is on the way.
Well, a heat wave for early October, I guess, right? We're talking 60s, maybe 70 this weekend, and that is not normal. But look toward the end there. It gets a little cooler next week. Of course, Thursday, Friday, probably high temperatures back in the 40s.
I was going to say that 65 is going to probably feel like 85, given the weather we've had the last
week. And tomorrow, you and I try out for what?
First, the Wisconsin Wendigo. I'm excited to show you guys that. But in the meantime, that'll do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching Up North at 4.
The Wendigo.
The Wendigo.
Beautiful home near Minocqua features 3-bedroom attached garage, blacktop drive, all nestled on 8 acres. Being sold regardless of price. Contact Brass and St. Louis Auctions for more details.
At a company, the culture comes from the top. Tim Michaels' company has been sued numerous times over sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. Women who worked for Michaels' company said they were groped, assaulted, and pressured to have sex with their bosses. Higher-ups at Michaels dismissed the women as liars and even fired those who spoke out. Is that what we need for Wisconsin? Tim Michaels, too radical, too